Good afternoon everybody, how are you all? Thank you for joining me, Toni Darroch, live in my studio on the 5th day of the 12 days of Christmas. I had to think about that one then. So we've been doing a course of tutorials, 12 days to Christmas, and we're on day 5. So I do encourage you, if you have missed the previous 4, to go back to our YouTube channel and check the other ones. There's lots of inspiration, varying techniques and varying demos on how to get the most out of the products that you've probably bought from us at Stamps by Me. I've also been using other people's stuff as well, so as always I encourage you to get out what you maybe have in your stash at home or something I've used. You may already have it. If you like what I've been using and would like it, as always you can pop onto our website and pop in Facebook Live FBL in the search engine and it will bring up everything that's been used in the show. This saves you having to hunt around and find the things you need. So today we're going to do a little bit of stenciling and a little bit of stamping, and we're going to use some of our recent products again and some of our earlier products again. So stay tuned, grab a cup of tea, sit back and just enjoy the show. Before I do go into my first demonstration, I'm just going to show you a little bit of inspiration about some of the products that we recently launched on Create and Craft and some of the products which have been absolutely knockout. Here you go. I'm really excited to tell you all about our fabulous Gossip range. On this one I wanted to show you our Gossip pens. Now these come in a box of three colours that coordinate together and 3 colours that will work fabulously on your artwork. And within we have high grade ink, and within there you have glitter. They have the nylon tip on there, which is a precision point. I am so excited about these. When you come to paint with them you will truly see how amazing they are. The great thing about Gossip is diluted down, you still get a great finish. So for the first demonstration we're going to use a different style card, should we say, for me. So I normally use a top folding note card, but today I'm going to use this Gatefold card. So it's just a card that opens in the centre, left to right, and what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of stenciling on here. So I'll just get this centralised for you so you can see where we're going. So what I did today was, because I'm trying to think of varying projects throughout the 12 days of Christmas, I'm looking through my stash to see what I've got, what I could use to chop it up a little bit and make it a little bit different for you. So this is one of our stencils we launched on the Blockbuster, and this is available on the website. But you might have a stencil in your stash that's got sort of a similar pattern to this one, and what I'm going to do is, because it's a 6x6 stencil and the card is 6x6, I want the pattern to be continuing across it, so I'm going to pop it straight in the centre. I'm just going to hold it in place with some low tack tape. So position it. I'm just using my Eureka as a bit of a base here. Just going to tape it to the top. Now to stencil through this stencil you could use your sponge daubers, your brushes if you have the rare earth brushes, the clarity brushes, or you can use your finger daubers. I'm a massive fan of the finger daubers, so that's what I'm going to use, but again you use what you're comfortable with at home. So I'm going to stencil through on the front of this with an orange. So this is our Generation Inks. It's a water-based ink, perfect for watercolouring and things, and I'm just going to do a light background on the back of here. So I'm just going to grab the orange one. I'm just going to lightly stencil through here, but what I'm going to do is just get a light coverage on there, all over, filling in all the squares. So I'm just dotting through the stencil, and this is going to create instant texture on my background. This card is going to be quite classic looking, but the stenciling on the background will give it instant depth, so I won't be thinking my image is getting lost on the card because I've put this little bit of detail in the back. So you're probably thinking, well, that's not really putting much colour through. It doesn't look like it is, but when you remove the stencil, it does go through. The great thing about this one is it being a gatefold one, the pattern's going to continue straight down the centre there. They're going to meet like it was meant to be. So I'm just going to keep going, get a bit more colour on there. Now I could use a 2-colour one. So we've got a bit of orange there. Make sure it's all covered. And let's let's add a bit of dimension with another colour. So this is the raspberry, this is from collection 1. I'll just swap this one out. And I'm just going to add a little bit of red to the outer area. So it's like orange faded out into red. Bit of an ombre effect. So should be happy with that one. Just move that out of the way. So I'm just going to go back in with the orange one more time to make sure I've got a nice blend in there. Make sure I've got a nice colour on there. That should be fine. So there we have the pattern instantly in the centre there, which is quite cool. I'm just going to clean this stencil. Get rid of the loose ink on there. And just move that one out of the way. So you see how you've created like instant dimension there on the back of your card. Little to no effort. So I'm just going to set this aside, let it air dry itself. And then I'm just going to get a piece of white cardstock and we're going to use the Mount collection, and we're going to use this one here. So I haven't used this one yet from the heart, so which is this one. So we're just going to stamp this one out using the Eureka, and I'm going to do this 3 times. Now, as I did yesterday, I might not need it 3 times, but I have done 3 ahead of time, and I'm just going to show you how beautifully this stamps. It's got large open spaces in there, so you can get in with your light and shade should you want to. See that there? So I just blast that one off just so it's dry. So I've stamped that out in a black VersaFine because the pens that I'm going to colour with are water based. So you can colour with your Gossip pens, which give a beautiful sparkle finish. You could add this pen to your orange background in the squares if you wanted to make that sparkly. You know, it's just trial and error, just have a play and see what really looks good and what doesn't. So I've just got 2 Tombow pens here. These are water based pens, and I'm just going to colour the petals, nothing fancy, and I am leaving white spaces. So where I've put those heavy lines in, I'm just going to go with that. And then with a different shade of pen, I'm just going to bring it together. So down the other side with a different green. Again, I'm leaving white spaces. Where possible. Just bring it all together. So this will dry back without the lines. It's because it's wet, it looks like a child's coloured it, but when the lines dry back, have faith that your colouring is going to be perfect. There we go. So what I'm going to do now is I have the coordinating outline die which comes with the heart set, so you get the heart mount. So I'm just going to cut this out on here. I'm just going to pop a bit of low tack tape on there. And I'm just going to run this through the snap quickly just to show you how lovely this one is. So ahead of time, I've gone ahead and done some more. And this will be a fourth. We will not need the fourth one, but it was just to show you how easy it is to stamp, colour and cut. Just be careful when you're taking your low tack tape off. Although it is low tack, sometimes it does tear your image. Happened to me a few times, unfortunately. So we've got our lovely 4 images there. Just take this back off, pop it back on the carrier sheet. So I'll just pop those to one side and we'll bring our gatefold card back in. So because I've got the opening doors on there, it would pretty much be impossible to get it centralised without the hinge hitting here. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn my artwork this way because it's irrelevant if that goes over the door. Where's the other one? There we go. So just pop this down. And we're going to go in the centre of this one, we're going to go for the heart. So this is within the card, so this is what people see when they open the card. And you see there the pages just sit on the outside, so nothing hurt. I just need to have a quick look, make sure I've got my heart straight. So I'm just looking from it from this angle. It's not a pretty sight, I apologise. There we go. I'm just going to ink the heart carefully. And if I get ink all around the side or in the middle, it's okay, you don't have to wipe it away. However, because these stamps are full in the centre, just be mindful of that. If I'd have taken the centre out, what would have happened is when you pull it off your carrier sheet, you'll stretch the heart and it won't actually stamp as a true heart. So I've left the centres in. But what you do have to be mindful of is this black in the centre of your heart here, or in the centre of your image. So whatever it may be, rectangular, square, you might have a bit of colour on there. That's absolutely fine, but within there, you would definitely have to remove that, okay? So just bear that in mind. It's just food for thought, really. So I'll stamp this heart. There we have like an instant mount on there, which is amazing. So I'm just going to give that a little dry. And then what we're going to do is I have some of the deco tag ones, and I'm just going to pick a sentiment that is going to sit in the centre there. And I have this one in mind because I absolutely adore this sentiment. And it says, always stay humble. Sorry, I'm just trying to position it. Always stay humble and be kind. It's one of my favourite sentiments. So I'm just going to do this one in black too. There we go. Such a lovely saying. Absolutely adore that one. I'm just going to blast that one off. So just move this one out of the way. So what we're going to have is, just close this up a little bit, just hold it in place. So what I want to create is a little bit of a lock on the front of here with these three beautiful images. Now I think if we did one on here, one up here, and then this one here, so it like connects, so when it's closed it connects, but then when it's stood open at least you've got one on the other side and one on there as well. So let's just show you what I mean exactly by that. Move these out of the way. So always go and think about your arrangement, so you can have it coming from the top. You would never just have it floating like that from the side, because that just wouldn't look normal. You could if you wanted to, but it wouldn't look quite right. So you could just pop one on here like so, and then trim the edge off. That would be more realistic, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to pop a little bit of tape behind here, just for speed. And hang it over there, and then I'll trim it. So that'll go on there like so. And then what we'll do is we will do it like so. So you can see there the stem is actually coming from somewhere. And then this one here, let me just trim that. That's it. And then this one would just sit on top here. We'll put it there, I think. Oh, let's have a look. That's better, isn't it? Yeah. So we'll stick this bit down. See there, so we have an instant like lock, so you put one down, one on, sorry, you see there? Does that make sense? So closed it looks like this. I'm just going to trim this off. Before I do that, I'm going to pop some sentiment on the front as well. So another favourite of mine, miracles happen every single day. Let's go for this one. Go for this one. Quite like this one. You've just got to be mindful of the fact when your card's open, okay, it might look bare. So this is the reason why I need to pop a sentiment on this side, because I've only got this little one embellishment on this side, and I'll show you when I am. So let's just move that one out of the way. Make sure it's still going to show. It's not. I like to take my time when I'm doing this sort of thing, and I know sometimes it becomes a little bit monotonous, but I do like things to look nice for whoever's going to win it. I like to take my time, and I'm sure you do at home without the pressure of live TV. So every day is a fresh start. You see there? So your card would sit like, so it's great really in the sense that you could make it fit however you wanted to. Closing one underneath, one on top, like so. And then when they open it up inside, they've got a beautiful sentiment in there. Now you could stamp this here in the centre as well. So I'm just going to trim this top half off because it's got the overhang which I was speaking about. So turn it from the back side like so, and then trim it from this side, and then you know you're going to get a nice finish on there. You see there how it's trimmed it at the top, so it looks like it was actually meant to be. So there we have. So we could sparkle that up, put some beads on, put some jewels on, do whatever you want. and we could put a belly band around that if you wanted to. So great gents card as well. So I hope you like that one. That was just so, I just wanted to show you that the elements within the collection, the little elements, do make great cards as well. You don't have to concentrate on the mount element of it. So whilst I'm just on the subject of this style of card, I'm just going to move on to another one, and I'm just going to bring in another gatefold card. This one, but this is like a really tall one. So another way, same concept, or should we say similar concept, but on a larger card, on a grander scale. So that was a small one, so if you like your small cards, that's also cool. What we're going to use on this one is a different stencil, and we're going to use this one. This one we did in about a year ago, I would say, and this was one of our super popular ones, and you can get some beautiful depth with this one. And again, this gives instant dimension to the back of a card with little to no effort. But again, the great thing about this is, because it's got the stalk on there, you can do a continuing pattern. Okay, so it looks more professional if you can get the continuing pattern rather than just like half on this side, half on this side, half on that side, half on that side. It's nice to get the continuing pattern straight through the centre. So this time, I'm going to use my sponge daubers again, and I'm going to use a green this time. When she finds it, there we go. So for the first coverage, I'm going to do a really light green through. Now you could go autumnal with your oranges and your yellows, or you could just go green, and we're going to do a two-tone green. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to get the most out of this continuing pattern. So light coverage first, all over. So I'm going like pouncing from above, not from the side, above. They are delicate stencils, they've got a lot of detail in there, so you do have to go like from above. So it's not hard with your brushes, but the sponge side of things does take the pressure off when you're doing things like this. So I'm just covering a light green all over, should we say. You could go in with some browns on the stalk. Be a little bit creative. Go in with your fine line pen, add some detail. So I've got a light coverage there. We'll just take that off and see how it's faring. Let's have a look. You see that there? How beautiful is that? But I want some dimension in there. So I'm going to pop it back on, back in its place. I'm not even concerned if it's not straight, because I'll just get a drop shadow, and that means more artistic. So this time with the green, I'm just going to get a lot of green on there, make it as juicy as I can, and I'm just going to press on a little bit harder from the stem of the flowers. And not take it right to the tip, but further in. So this will give your card instant dimension without you even realising it yourself. If you have a harsh line in there, you can quickly just take it out. You don't even have to rush, just take it out, and then when you take it off for the second time, you get instant dimension. Can you see that? So the tips are lighter and the centre's dark. So let's just have another go here. But what you would do on the second one is you would chop and change your which way you're going to go. So we could go just straight up on this one, look. But always remember to take it off page. Don't just dink it straight in the middle. So just make sure this is straight, and I think we'll go further down. So light all over. Oranges and yellows on this one look absolutely gorgeous. And we have done this in a demonstration, and as I said earlier, you know, if you have got an hour spare and you're sat cozy, you can just go through all the videos and just see what we've been up to at Stamps by Me. If you are watching on YouTube, please remember to subscribe, and if you are on Facebook, like and comment. And I always give away my studio make, so if you comment on anything, whether it be to tell me the card was great or the card was even rubbish, a lucky winner is picked at random. And I always send out the studio makes. Now I'm just adding a darker detail here in the centre. Get a little bit of dimension on there. So a little bit of news for you. I'm back on Create and Craft on Thursday at 10 o'clock, I believe. And that is with Eureka back in stock. So if you did miss out, the Eureka is back in stock, and I have been told it's guaranteed delivery. Thursday is the last day for guaranteed delivery. So if you did miss out before, this might be a perfect opportunity for you to grab it. So on here as well, on this stencil here, you can see we've got some little ones. Now we could just, let's just show you, just move that one out of the way. So the little ones you could just have creeping over the side just as a card filler, no dimension, just a light coverage through, just an accent. You see that? So you've got like foreground and background. Remember, inky fingers, we don't want paw prints everywhere if you're anything like me. One more in the top corner here. Right, I'm just turning the stencil around so I get in dimension. So just set that aside. So you can see there already we've got something quite awesome coming along when you press it shut. Now you could spend a lot more time getting in there with light and shade, but it's a bit monotonous doing it live on air. So I'm going to leave it as is. Let's move this out of the way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the rectangular mount on this one. Move this out of the way. We're going to create a focal point on our card. So I'm just going to move that to the side because I probably will mess it up if I put it anywhere else. So just get a piece of white cardstock and I'm going to do some heat embossing again as yesterday. So for those of you that have never heat embossed before, I always anti-static the area and it gives me a nicer finish every single time. And you will need a sticky ink pad. This is the ink pad I use quite often. And just take the mount, and again the mount is complete in the centre because if it had not been full in centre, it would have stretched and you probably would have ended up with a rectangle that looks like it's had a few gins, should we say. So I'm just going to pop the ink around the sides, light taps all over the stamp. Because I've got the facility with the Eureka to go in twice, I'm just going to go see what it looks like first. I'm just going to do it one more time, just to make sure. And we're going to use the same gold as yesterday, so this was in the limited edition box. I'm just going to shake the excess of this one off. I hope you've enjoyed our the 12 days of Christmas. I know we've not finished yet. Are you enjoying them so far? I hope so. You know, I've really wanted to make sure everybody I do something different for everybody, should we say. Sorry about that, I was just looking for a piece of card. And I wanted to make sure people could get some ideas, so maybe on that Boxing Day afternoon when nothing's really happening, you would be able to get your craft stash out maybe and just have a play, check throughout the videos and create your own mini creations. Maybe next year's Christmas cards, if you're on it. So I'm just going to heat this one up. Now, heat embossing, get your gun good and hot. 30 seconds off the page. I'm just going to show you, see if we can get it to show. See if you can see it changing. Yep, that's it. So this gives you like a really ornate frame. So when the powder starts to change, just move your gun. If you leave it in the same position too long, you'll burn the pigment and it will dull. So I'll just see, there we go, look, you can see that. How gorgeous that is, it's absolutely gorgeous. So with this die, with this stamp, you do get a coordinating die, but I am just gonna cut it with my scissors for speed. So if you do get the stamp and maybe your budget won't stretch to the die, it's okay. You will have a set of scissors in your stash, or maybe a rectangular die that might just go around it nicely. I'm actually not bad at cutting out, so I'm happy to go. There we go. So we have like an instant ornate frame there, which is cool. So within the rectangular collection, you get this lovely large flourish. So ahead of time, I stamped it and I die cut it out, and I've coloured it in with the sparkle pens on the orange, and it's really sparkly, and I hope you can see this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mount this within this frame here, so it creates like a picture frame around, like so. So I'm just going to, we will put it on with our tape pen and glue to make sure it stays put. Just swap that one out for a different one. And I am going to pop a little bit of glue behind there as well, because I would hate for it to drop apart. So when I'm absolutely happy, secure it down, just hold it there for now. So let's go back to our card. So you can see where this is going now, can't you? You can see how it's going to tie in beautifully. So what we need to do, move this out of the way, is we need to adhere this to one side of our card. So I'm going to adhere it to the left here, but before I do that, let's pick a sentiment, and I'm going to do the sentiment on the front. And we have varying sentiments, so let's precious and few are friends like you. I'll go with that one. Precious and few are like you. Get rid of that hair. So I'm just going to pop my artwork on just to see. So let's get the card in place. And then we'll stamp this one. Now you could do this in gold embossing if you wanted to, but I'm going to do it in black so it pops. Make that a little bit darker. And then we get our ornament. So I'm only going to go, is that the broken one again? So all I'm going to do is go down this side because I'm going to get it to adhere here. If you adhere both, you'll close your card. So you just need to make sure. So you could do it higher if you wanted to. You could do it lower, trim some of the card down. We're not governed by the size of the card, always remember that. Go with what, you know, you think works. So I'm just going to stick that onto the left. And then what will happen is you'll have a beautiful, and you could put anything you wanted in the centre there. So we have, just make sure that's stuck, it is. So we have two very similar techniques, two totally different looks. You see there? So, oh, there we go. So I do give away the makes, please remember that. So please don't forget to like or comment or say something. Let me know you have been watching, and wherever you've been watching from, please do let us know. Different techniques, different ideas. I'll try and do something completely different tomorrow so you can maybe get a bank of memories on inspiration for your cards. All I will say is it's a cold evening, so whatever you're doing, stay safe, stay cozy, and I'll see you all again tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Take care everyone, bye.